that you have to be doichik something. So most of the time, Rav Tchukim or Taka Emes. Over here, it's Emes. But the Maisa, who might to take a Christ and such a second? No, but just have here. It's a little bit right. No? So Maisa, they have these journals, these alonim, the Hilchos, the Hilchos, and over there in the 61st volume, in the 172nd page. So they asked this Shal Cherchain Kniyaski. They asked it. They asked it. Mishaburi brings down Rameir, B'Shaygig, and they bring down all the different studim, and they go back and forth and back and forth. And Chaim Kanievsky answered in one more, like as if to say, you see, because they have the whole back and forth and back and forth. And Chaim Kanievsky answered like with two words: "Fatreit Mishkin Cup." The Mishabura is Mekel, like Rameir, Bein B'Shaygig, Bein B'Mezid, if it would be a Makom Sarach. Now, why did the Mishabura write it like that? That's like we said, that's how you have to paskin. There's no other sheet over here. Rav Tchukim Emes, his uncle the Chazon Ish said that. Why did Mishabura say it? Like I said before, because in order to get a kula from the Mishabura, when it'll come to Meisid, if you'll bring me other tzirufim, like by the case of salt, we'll bring it in, but it certainly exists. That's what I want them to know, that the sheet of Rav Meir certainly exists. That's number one. Number two, these halachas in general, everybody say, are halachas on a level of a drabanan. Mishabura and Sivkat and Beis over here, he said the whole Maisa Shabbos is an issa drabanan. That's the Mishabura brings over here. What's nafkamin if you have a suffix, which we'll see different cases, many different cases. You have speikis, this whole knas. I mean, of course, you can't do the isser. The isser is on the riser or whatever. We'll see about the isser. But the knas that Chazal gave, this deterrent, is an isser. The knas is a knas derabanan. It came from Chazal. That's how we pass it, and they're attached, right? Yeah, okay. No, because I don't see. Okay, that's okay. No, it's okay. As long as it's, no, I want to see you, but it's okay. Upon him, the Lamaisa Tachlis, let me see them once in a while. So the Tachlis, it's a Drabanan, it's not an Issa Deraisa, and therefore we would have a suffix in the Maisa Shabbos, we're going to say suffix Drabanan the Kula, but we'll come back to that. It's very important to remember that. Anytime you can have Sveikis in Maisa Shabbos, we're going to be able to say. Just wonder out loud, like this is already somewhat of a suffix. It's already somewhat of a suffix. Do we pass like Rabbi Meir? Everyone agrees it's at least a suffix. Once you see how serious the Aruch HaShulchan brings the sheet and how serious the Mishabura is about, so it's at least a suffix. At least a suffix. So that's number two. Number three is I quoted you yesterday. Come again. Why is he what? It's a little unfair, that question, because you're in the shlav of paskin again. I'm after that shlav. When the Mishabura is discussing how to pass in the Shaila, so he's schwitzing. He's mamish schwitzing. Now I'm after all that. I'm after the Mishabura. Sorry? No, because you never find in the shlav of the Mishabura is a machari. Train and pass in one way. That doesn't, the Shlav Achrab, every Rabbanan, the Shaila in the world, you're going to say that? Every Shaila in all of Kol Kula, which is a Rabbanan, so that's it. It should always be, but once there's a Machlaikis, we should pass in the Kula. You're going to go through the Shabbos with that cloud, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Every case of Muksa, there's about 500 Sveikas in Hilchos Muksa in the Mishabura lane. And so what's going to happen? Every single suffix, we're just going to be makel because something done on the kula. Zikr and Shabbos, Moshe is a very famous tshuva we talk about when we learn Moshe. We don't always say something done on the kula when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos. Here, I admit that it's not a shaila so much in Hilchos Shabbos. It's a shaila more in the Ma'aseh Shabbos and the Knas. So it would be a little bit less aggressive. But you're not going to say that. We could say that. We are after all this, and we know Reb Meir exists, and we know that there might be a makom to be makel, so we already could say that. I'm just saying it, But anyways, I would never say it if it wasn't something like if the goyim wouldn't have said it, we never would have mentioned this. So something like that. That's number one. Number two is Rav Shlomo Zalman. Yesterday I mentioned the tshuva from Rav Shlomo Zalman. He says something else there. I mentioned that tshuva. It was in Aleph Hey Gimel. Aleph Simon Hey Ois Gimel. Over there, Shlomo Zalman talks about the same type of thing. He says, you tie the knot to Isser on Shabbos. Right? Where's it in Negea? It's what's the case if you tie a knot to Isser on Shabbos? Anybody know? What? So let's make it, we can make it b'shegeg, why not? What? Not all. Let's make it amazing. I want to make it amazing. Make it amazing. I got a good one. How's this? What he made a tie. Not every tie is usher. Sorry, kids, we have to learn kaisha yet next. What do you think? Looks like it's hard to find cases. What do you say? Tie the garbage bag. That's a Gishmaka case. That's a Gishmaka case. On Shabbos, he went and he tied a garbage bag. Tied a garbage bag. That's not Gishmaka. The only thing is that usually it'll be, why would it be amazed? It's a bag. No, but I'm saying the amazed kapel the Shabbos. I don't mean kapel. Who's going to be the fellow that ties a garbage bag with amazed on Shabbos? He's that guy that says like that. This is what Hashem cares about. So not Barnat. You know that guy. Right? But no, I need a mason though. I need a mason. The bad guy. But yeah, it's somebody who like. I got it. I got a case. A case like this. The case is that no, some of these things some of them I perform, and some of them are prepared. This is what I'm talking not prepared for. I'm performing right now, trying to figure out a case. Right? So I think I got a case. The case like this. No, your case might be better. The case is you have this person. She told her, the shviker. We'll make it the shviker. Tell them the shviker is a big deal. So the shviker says, take the garbage and put it over there. So Rabbi said, you take the garbage, put it over there. So the Balcher, he takes the garbage, he puts it over there, and what happens? It falls over. It falls over. So she gets so angry. She gets angry, because he didn't tie it, shlomak, right? He didn't tie it, right? Or he tied it in one of these knots that, these halachically legal knots or something like that, right? It's a real knot bar knot. So then comes and she she gets all angry. She ties it into a knot. Okay, and then maybe even a knot with a bow. But that's going to be loylum. So she tied a knot. That's amazing. Is that amazing? Is that amazing? She knows it's Shabbos. She knows she can't do it, right? And she's angry. She's doing it out of anger to her son-in-law. I don't know if that's Bahala. Who said Bahala? I'll throw you out. Who said that Bahala? Right? I'll throw you out of here. Yeah, it is. So, I don't think that's called Bahala. That's not Bahala. That's Mason. Rabbi say we have to have somebody's Mason. No, somebody by Titchifas was like the Chibitu, right? You have to have some Mason. You have a. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure. Is that an oimer? He's an oimer. Everything is mutter, right? But I'm not sure. Okay, let me think about it. I'm not sure. It's an interesting idea. I'm not sure. But Al in my case, it's amazing, right? So now Rabbi said, wait, watch this. So you tell her, you tied the garbage bag. That's mamish amazing. That's mamish amazing. So now you're not allowed to get enough from this garbage bag. We don't have a case. It's already going to get enough from the knot. What's the case? No, you're getting a no right now. Of course, you're getting a no because she's going to take it to the garbage. Granted, she's muksa. She's machmir. She doesn't take out the garbage on Shabbos because she's worried about muksa. All right, let's say there's also Rosh Hashanah. She doesn't take out the garbage. Motzei Shabbos right away. She wants to take out of the garbage. Okay, is she getting hana? Actually, now I think about it, is that called hana? What? The knot is not what it's doing. No? What? It's hard to find a case. No, it's hard to find a case. What? A tie. All right. So let's say you know your tie. All right. Let's say you know your tie is. It's hard to find. Wait, is that hana? But the garbage case is not such a knot, right? Am I getting a no from the knot? What? No, but I'm saying I'm getting. Yeah, it was mamish still. Oh yeah, let's say. I'm a minute. Wait. Rabbi say. Well, I'm a minute. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I need to get enough from the knot. Okay, yeah, I mean, you can find the weird case. The guy's tying bolts to docks. DJ, starting with me. How many must are on Shabbos out by the dock tying knots? What? Okay, he's right. So there you are. No, he's right. So there you have a case. No, he's right. There you have a case. If you tied the boat to the dock on Shabbos, been mazed. So now, Motzei Shabbos comes again. Rishleim Zaman, he wants to know, do you have to untie the knot and tie it again? Right? Bring them so they can. You have to tie the knot again. So Shlomo Zaman said this is not mistaber. Just like it's so the Gada, Shlomo Zaman, why is it not mistaber? Why is it not mistaber? It's annoying. It's a big tircha. It's annoying. I don't know. He's saying there's no tircha. Shlomo Zaman says in that. Okay, Gada, your knot might be more tircha than Gada. The one by the your knot might be worse. Your knot's a little bit worse. Right? Okay, that's what Shlomo Zalman says. I don't know, Rabbi said, to me it sounds like a massive chiddush. Sorry? No, the knas is on all 39 malachas. That's what the Rama says. What do you mean? You can't get enough from the Ma'aseh Shabbos. Don't redo it, but you have to undo it. I mean, you're getting enough right now, right? Right now, you're getting enough. The boat is not floating away, so I'm getting enough. Just a moment. I can't. When I'm through a glass, I can only do one at a time. Sorry. Right now, I'm getting another boat. DJ, did the boat float away or not? It didn't. No, so no. I mean, Yannick, no, but so he's saying it didn't float away. So if it didn't float away, you're getting enough. What? No, because that already is not. No. That's called a grum. That's not something. No, no. Slow. That's not called. That's not in the chefs. It's interesting. It's interesting. He's saying, why don't I have to take the dinghy and send them out to the Atlantic? It's like a grandma's. It's not. It's possible that right now you have a boat that's tied. You have something here. Yeah, but that no is not in the mic. There's no Isser in the dinghy, right? It's true. That's not in the malacha. That's not in the chefts of the malacha, right? That's something that, as a result of the malacha, right? As a result of the malacha, I got this. Okay, Rabbi say, I'm gonna. So no, let's say somebody gives you. That's something to think about. Let's say somebody gives you $100 to cook a schnitzel on Shabbos. If you turn on the fire on Shabbos, I'll give you $100. They can say that he has to give back that $100. It's not. I don't really think about much. What? No, he means like that. You have that mosquito draining around. He's a mamish anti-Semite. So what do? You go. Right, and then you circle it, the manyiru v'shmayu. That all the other anderas will listen. This is what's going to happen if you mess with me, right? So it's like a mezid as a. No, I'm trying to make it about because also you don't want it to be a malacha shein tzricha l'gufa, right? You want it to be a malacha tzricha l'gufa. So it's mamish like he needs it dead that they should also listen. Okay, Akopanim, my say Rishonim Zalman says that he's mesupik if you have to untie it. So I saw of this in Krelitz. He says no, Vada, you have to untie it. But that's the pashtus. Even Rishonim Zalman admitted. I just think it's anyways it has to be like that because you're going to start donning. Is this yes tircha? Is that not tircha? So you have to untie it. But then Rishonim Zalman tak as you have to untie it. You can't be getting enough from it right now. By our garbage case, the angry shviger. So I don't know. Let's say the only way things wouldn't fall out, it was a garbage which is filled mamish to the top. Okay, let's make that the case. The garbage is mamish filled mamish to the top, and so right now you'd have to untie the garbage. You have to untie the garbage and then retie the garbage. Right? That's what you have to do. It's an interesting. That just sounds interesting. That's what Rishonim Zalman saying. Akapanim. So Rishonim Zalman has another case. Who asked me this yesterday? Somebody in the somebody asked me. Rishonim Zalman Mamish has this case. I wasn't going to speak it out. I was reading the rest of the truth. Taka speaks out. Who asked me the case? Who asked it? What? With the chair. Somebody asked me yesterday. You made a chair on Shabbos. And now you can't use it because you were bemazed. So now you give it away because you can't use the chair. And now that person, he invites you over for a Shabbos meal. Are you allowed to sit on that chair? Meaning, what's the? Because so what's the is the Isser the Ma'aseh Shabbos klape the cheft? So this cheft, so klape you is mamish meila. Klape you this Isser is hektish. It's over. You can't get enough. Or they say no. The word is that I'm not allowed to use my chair. For Reg, it's not my chair. Klape the knas. It's on their chair. It's on their ankle. It's not my chair anymore. He's mesupik. Rishonim Zalman is mesupik. But you can't be mafka because then you're reacquiring or whatever. Sorry? If you give the schnitzel to your friend and then he invites you for a meal, and this is what he serves you. Again, without a haram, obviously, right? A real thing. Cooking in Shiva. Now, that we have to talk about. That's except Sefer talks about because you're cooking for them. That we have to talk about. Here's a case. He did the chair for himself. He knows it's usher, so he gives it to somebody. That person invites him for Shabbos. He said to me, hey, you're sitting on your evil chair. You're sitting on the chair. It's interesting. These are things that don't have clarity to them. So I want them to know them. So get invited to Taka. And Platzke, they're here because by me it's blank screen. Okay. is, let me get invited. So now, what's a shaygig? What's a shaygig? With Mason, we started talking about shaygig. It's interesting. The Mishabur brings shaygig as an oimer mutter. That's one case. The Mishabur doesn't bring, there's a Magen Avram that says a Hiras Chacham is a shaygig. If the Chacham made a mistake and you listen to the Chacham, so then you're a shaygig. Right? You're a shaygig. That, for some reason, Mishabur doesn't bring it. I don't know why. But the L'chayri doesn't argue on it, right? But it's a very interesting thing. I saw in the Das Torah, in the Bajana, in Steve Aleph, he brings down. That's very nice. You're a shaygig if you listen to the Chacham. Let's say the Chacham, he listens to himself. So he says he's not a shaygig. He's not a shaygig. Okay? But he says over there that he's a Havali Lil Moy. He should have learned. It's Takar Big Chiddush. And Gindi says, what do you mean? The guy's an Aimer Mutter. And the Aimer Mutter called him, he said, the guy's a Chacham and he did it. Das Torah says, no, he's Takar Havali Lil Moy. He should have learned it. And already that's such a big Chiddush. Such a big Chiddush. What? Sorry? I think he's talking about the case of where the fellow did it, and he said, nah, it's okay. He didn't even look into it. It still is not a mutter. Yeah, it's a massive chiddush. Massive chiddush. Mishabur doesn't bring it, but it's not a raya. But it's like, I was going to come in today and say that the Mishabur argues, and therefore it's not, I was going to say, La Lacha will do like the Mishabur. Now I'm not sure, because the Mishabur doesn't bring the entire idea of Haras Chacham, that if you listen to a Chacham, so then you're a shaygig. So what do you want? You want the Mishabur to bring, for whatever, we have to figure out why in the world they didn't bring Haras Chacham in the first place. But I'm not sure. I imagine that Haras Chacham for sure is mutter. Haras Chacham for sure is shaygig. Sorry, you're a shaygig. The Chacham in Lane, if he doesn't do, I don't know, it's just like a big, I don't know. I mean, you guys are, it's a Shem, you're going to be the big Talmidei Chachamim. It sounds like a big chiddush. No, that means that you guys learned the whole sugya. Let's say bishul. Let's say last man learned bishul shia chazara tomorrow, right? And you knew the whole sugya. It's right. Then a shaila comes up on Shabbos. You say, no, I'm thinking if this. I think what we learned. I think it's what I'm not saying you were so super responsible that you said like I learned bishul for the whole the entire summer's man, and I know bishul and this case should be mutter. And then you realize afterward that no, taka cooking a chicken on Shabbos is an issa deraisa. Wow, right? So no, I'm saying, but when you did it, you're not a bad guy. You're not amazing. It's interesting thought. Okay, I'm not sure. Now, Behala, very interesting. I said yesterday, what's the verse of Behala? I said I'm not convinced that Behala is going to get the shaygig, the amazed level knas. I'm not convinced that he'll get a amazed level knas, and that maybe he'll get like a shaygig level knas. It's not going to be as bad, and maybe we'll only answer it on Shabbos. Lefi Akapan Rebuta and Mitzvah Shabbos. Well, for sure going to be makel on it. That's what we said. And there's probably a malkum to be makel. It's not so clear. But I tell you very interesting. And I told you can't really compare Bahala, our sugya, to Gans all over the place. Because here the idea is the Bahala we're talking about there might be different level Bahalas, right? For example, I told you one case yesterday. There's different Bahalas. The point is in each Bahala you have to don. If you have a Bahala which is a reactionary Bahala, something spills, his knas, what's a knas going to do? What's a knas going to do? A knas is going to go and deter him in the future from doing such things. It was his reaction. Then I realized after this year, I'm not convinced. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Taka, he's going to learn to change his reactions. Maybe he's going to learn to change his reactions. So I'm not convinced. I just want you to know it's not clear. It's not clear. But I'll tell you something very interesting. Rav Yitzchak Zilberstein, there's in Kufyat Zayin and Beis in his wonderful Sefer Chashukei Chevet. So he brings down a Moridik Maisa over there. He brings down that he brings him the Sajigor Rebbe. I don't know if he means the one that was nifted now. I think he means the one that was his father. I think because that Sefer was written, I think the Rebbe now only became the Rebbe about 8 years ago, right? 7 years ago, yes. So this Sefer was written, I think, probably about 9 years ago, 10 years ago. So he means probably that Rebbe. So he brings that his father, who was Rabbi Shol Razin, that's what he brings. So he brings down that there was a Maisa that somebody came to him, Grace asking in, I think it was in Skolia, when he was in Skolia. So he was a Grace asking, and he made a very big investment. And this asking was somebody who had all of his own money in addition to his own money, but he had all the money of the people that were entrusted him in the town, which included many of the bigdainis of the geld. He was like a private bank. The person himself was a private bank, and people trusted him also. What he invested, they trusted him, etc., etc. He was a private bank, basically, a very trustworthy person, a very wealthy person. And this person made a certain investment. He made like a deal, which was like a killer. You know, he was they gave him a plot of land and he could buy the whole thing and build it up and whatever. And if he have to give all of his money, but what he was going to get out of it was not to be believed as an investment of a lifetime. So the kids so he took all the money and put it into this investment. All the ganze Famegen, his Famegen, his own geld. The money of all the almanas and the Yisayimim and everybody in the town that entrusted him. So the kids, what happened? This story happened on Friday afternoon. They went and he's not Meirich there. I found out the whole story after. He says a very big kid. I'm telling you all the Lashon Hara, so it's good to know this. Friday afternoon, they made the deal, and it was a very, very nishpasha, the Maisa, the whole thing, and with government and everything. Kids, Friday night, they came to him and they say he has to sign a certain document. He didn't sign this document. And if this document that he didn't sign, you don't have any money. So you better sign this. His lawyer came to him and said to him, you better sign this document. You don't sign this document. So that the government, Kafi, what says over here, you just basically have no more money. And it's not your money anymore. And by the morning, if they see this, it's over. That was the story. So he says, sign on Shabbos. It's not Megaya, right? And it was a document official. He couldn't get a guy to sign it, and it had to be a normal signature. It couldn't be with the finger lock on the toes and whatever, with the pinky in the nose. No, it had to be a proper signature. So he says, Shabbos, what do you do? For Shabbos, you have to give up all your money. Shabbos, you have to give up money. What can you do? But then he said, he started to hear the cries of the Yisayimim and the Almanas. So but the Shabbos, Mistama, this is what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants, and it should be Moisei Nefesh for Shabbos. But then what's going to happen? The cries of the Yisayimim and the Almanas. And he was mamish shaking her Ada, and he went back and went forth for mamish 2-3 hours back and forth. Yesterday, and Basayif, he said the cries of the Yisayimim and the Almanas, and he signed on Shabbos. And then he went to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe was shaking, and the Rebbe went to the Beis Shlomo. Shlomo was one of the great Shuvas writers of his time, which is Beis Shlomo, a great guy, and from the Chassidim, into the mansion. He went to the Beis Shlomo. They wanted to know, is he and he signed, and he saved all the money. So he wanted to know. It wasn't a mighty Shabbos Shiloh there. That's also not in the shtar itself. That's like we'll talk about. That's not in the Chefza. The Shiloh wasn't mighty Shabbos. Shiloh was, the Tikkunei Tshuva for this person. Is he mamish amazing? Is he amazing? The Beis Shlomo Paskin, he's an oinus. If he's hearing in his head that I'm not saying no one should do this. This Shabbos, you don't know. The Cholent was talking to me. You don't know. I started hearing the cries. After Shabbos, I'm going to get 100 phone calls. You don't know. He was I started hearing the cries of the Bachrim. They came all the way from America now, and they're not going to have Cholent. You know what it's going to sound like. In this case, you understand this different. It was the Ganze from Megan, and it was Yisayim and Mamana. The Ganze story, unbelievable. But Shlomo held he's an Einus. Richard Silberstein says over there, he's bothered. Need him a he's an Einus. Einus meaning you don't have to give him Tikkunei Tshuva. What's that? I just want to show you that this is the highest level Bahala. There's levels and levels of Bahala. There's Bahala which is reaction. There's Bahala that's premeditated, but there's a Bahala that he thinks to himself that he's, for the rest of his life, he's going to, imagine a person, what was going in his mind. He'll be the most hated person in the town for the rest. He'll be that person. What do they call those scams that everyone talks about? What is it? Hansi? Who? Hansi? Hansi. Seems interesting. Who knows the names of these scams? Pansy schemes. For the rest of his life, he's going to be known as this Pansy character, and he won't get an aliyah in shul, and they'll, everywhere he'll go. Could you imagine the thought of such a thing? It's le'olenu. It's achad chodem, right? And here he meant to do good, right? And taka what'll be with all these Yisayim and almanas. Kids are basic. Achlas, he called them anoinus because that behola is of such that he was not able to control himself. So the Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein, he brings down a makor to this idea. In Siman Shin Lamed Daled, at the end of the Siman over here, it's talking about somebody that put out a fire on Shabbos. And over there, we start talking about what's the tshuva process for somebody who puts out a fire on Shabbos. So it's not so friendly over here. It says, if the guy was a shoygeg, this might say, shoygeg d'Rabbanan. What did he do? He accidentally, he didn't realize, it's muksa, muksa, and he puts it down, His eggshells, after he peels the eggs, the shells are on the counter, so he picks up the eggshells, and then he takes it and he puts it into the garbage, Not it was in his hand, that's a whole shayla. Mama, she picked it up off the counter and put it into the garbage. So that's muksa. He was over on muksa. So what do? Did he do it on purpose? He wasn't thinking so much, he wasn't thinking, God is Shabbos, I've got to do that, right? Shoygig drabanan on Shabbos, right? So what would most of us do, right? It's never again. Or, mamish a higher level yid, he would say, I have to, I got to make sure that I learn maybe Hilchos Muksa. Maybe Hilchos Muksa, right? What does the Ramah say to do? So the Ramah says that in over v'chilel, if he was over v'chal Shabbos, so sarich lis'anois arboim yoim sheni v'chamishi, 40 days. Some are makel in the winter days, not in the summer days, the longer days. Arboim yoim la yishte yayin la yoichel basar. Okay, but here you're telling me this is talking about yitei b'makam achatis. This is talking about achatis. So the Shabru over here on the bottom he brings down. He says that afilu betchumin derabanan, even under abanans. So akapanim, very serious. The tshuva that is required for somebody who's over under abanan. What do you see from this Mishnah Berurah? You all learned in yeshivas about the nesivas. You all know the famous nesivas. Come on, you all know the nesivas that he says if you do a shoygig derabanan, so then it's no iser b'chlal, right? Because the whole list of Rabbanan is last week's parsha. Like Saser, whatever the Chazal say, Yeminu small. So the whole list of Rabbanan is what? Whatever Chazal tell me, I listen to. So if you're Shoygig, you didn't not listen to the Chachamim. Right? You see from the Ramah, is he not like that? Did he? Did say Yadid? My goodness. Just imagine the Yadid Shmai of two Nevi'im being stabbed in a Vu Echas. Unbelievable. As Makabat Rabbi Yitzchak? Maybe I should make a party. He's talking a big tamcha. He didn't know I was so big. Huh? Now you know it's mekavet das gedolah. But that's so the Mishnah Berurah said. He said it's not like the nesivos, right? So maybe it could be mechalik. You could say Shabbos is worse. The nesivos was only talking about, he was talking over there about kashrus and Reish Lamed Beis and Chashmishpat, whatever it was. He's talking about, let's say, the guy. Should I give you a case? You tell him. It sounds geferlich, right? You tell him here, this burger is not a real burger. It's not a real burger. It's really, soy. It's really soy. And here, he always wanted to try cheeseburger with cheese and soy. So he gives you a cheese and soy and whatever. And the guy, you want to do him a big taiva because he always wanted to taste. What does it taste like to have a cheeseburger and everything? Right? Maisa, what you did is that so you told him it's soy, it's mutter, you could eat it. Maisa, really, it was like a chicken burger, because if it would be a meat burger, then that would be better. But it was like a chicken burger, right? Or better, you didn't cook it together and it's not hot. Okay, how's that? So it's only milk and meat together, but it was real meat and real milk, but it was together and it wasn't cooked together, and it's only an Issa D'Rabbanan only. It's an Issa D'Rabbanan, so you give it to him and he eats it, and he thought that he's eating a soy burger. And then afterwards you tell him, how was it? Says Taka Hamish Gevaldig. I know what the guy, like the Rambam says, that you're not supposed to say, I don't want to eat treif. You're supposed to say halavai. My boyre was geyser alive and I can't eat treif. So tell him, don't worry, you Taka ate treif. He says, what? You weren't over on anything. Okay, so I don't believe the Nesivos would allow that, because it's at least a lifnei iver, because nobody wants to do that. There's no seichel person that would want to do that. But Akapanim, you see from this Mishnah Berurah, maybe not like the Nesivos anyway, that a Shaygid Rabbanan requires a kapara. According to or you could be mechalik and say maybe Shabbos is worse. Maybe you'll be mechalik and say that Shabbos is, we know a mumil chal Shabbos is mamish, he's mamish the worst, and his wine is treif, etc., etc. So maybe that's what's worse, and therefore the Nesivos would agree when it comes to Shabbos. And Nesivos is only talking about other Yisur Rabbanan. Says the Mishnah Berurah like this. He goes on and he says, Umayri, we're talking over here that the fellow did what he did b'shoygeg. He put out the fire b'shoygeg. Don't forget, putting out fires in Issa D'Rabbanan, right? So he's putting out the fires in Issa D'Rabbanan. But this is if he's a shoygeg. That's when we have this tshuva kapara process of the giving the fast and give the 18 pshitim l'tzedakah and whatever, the whole ma'is of it. He says, aval b'mezid, b'mezid. So then forget it. If he's Mechal Shabbos b'mezid, chayiv skila and whatever, so then he needs a tshuva shleima. Then go after him with a tshuva shleima. But the Mishnah Berurah says like this. Listen to the Mishnah Berurah, he's got 9 ches. He says, But what if the anasim were coming? The looters, right? The looters were coming. They say because they hurt somebody they know or something. It's not a real good excuse to go and loot. But Lamaisa, the looters are coming. Okay, come the looters, and now there you are with your diamonds and your gold, and you got to figure out what to do with the looter, with the diamond and the gold. Now it can't be that the guy of his mom is standing right next to you because he's going to see. Some of them aren't so intelligent, but he's going to see when you're digging that you're putting the gold and the diamonds inside the floor. So it must be that you know that they're in the vicinity. Okay, I'm just trying to show you there's a little bit level over here of premeditation and not just reaction. Says the Mishnah Berurah. So now you go and you dig a bore because you're afraid of the looters, and you're not doing it b'shat nefesh lamala, your taifa. You're doing it because you're frustrated, scared. Says the Mishnah Berurah that in this case he's like a shoygei klape the tshuva process. Klape the tshuva process, he's like a shoygei. And he's not considered amazing, and therefore he doesn't have as charif, as aggressive a tshuva process. So what do you see from over here? Here you see a level of behala, that a person is acting as a result of behala, and that we're not considering him to be as geferlich, like amazing. I just want you to see this. If I say klape knas, I must admit I'm going back and forth. If he has to make a knas, if he has to make a knas, so it's not clear. It's not nothing's clear in the but the sugya behala is not a very important sugya that you just learned. Suffix is mutter, but I'm not sure if Shragi Kals, a suffix is enough to make, you know what I mean? I have a suffix. Somebody who's actually good in learning will come along and they'll tell you that. It's about this, about that. What? Right, we don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very specific about it. I don't know. I sent the Shiloh today to Chaim Kimias. Let's see if we get that. My son's Maggid Shir goes into Chaim, and apparently Chaim's seeing people. So he'll go and he'll ask Chaim Kimias. In the meantime, I don't know. That if he doesn't know, then nobody knows, right? And the stomach will know. Sorry. If he says it's Eino Yadua, right? Then I agree. No, it's not no. He says Eino Yadai means the Urim Batumim just said it's not known. Well, okay, that's pretty good. I think that's enough to make a suffix. No. So why doesn't he write mutter? Because he doesn't know. Because he hasn't, you know. Somebody once asked me if they can come to Rabbi Yashiv. It was the last time I brought a guest to Rabbi Yashiv. I used to go to Rabbi Yashiv on Fridays. The last time I ever brought a guest to Rabbi Yashiv. Why? Because I didn't know what his plan was. He came in. He's a person from America. Wanted to see Rabbi Yashiv. He said he's not going to talk. Right? Came in and he listened to when I asked the Shilas. Right? And then at the end, he asked Rabbi Yashiv, "Can you say one thing?" So Rabbi Yashiv said, "No." So he said, Baruch Ato, like he took Rabbi Yashiv like a lulav and started shuckling, right? Baruch Ato, Shechalok Michachma Soydere. Rabbi Yashiv, I said, Amen. Rabbi Yashiv said, Oh, now, could you make of Shechalok Chachma and Rabbi Yashiv? Yes. No Shaila. With Shem and Malchus? Yes. Right? Was I not allowed to ever bring a guest? Never again. But you understand. No, so I'm saying, so you can't ask the Shaila. If Chaim Kanievsky doesn't taltzach, he's the Gadlador. He's the Urim Betumim, is not a Kash. Let me get invited. Now, the Morah Shabbos, he's a wonderful Jew, Rabbi Yadler. He has 100 pages on Maisa Shabbos in Chelik Aleph. He has a whole section over there of Perkei Ches. It's nice geschmacka reading. You should all get it. Mamish 100 pages over there of Shailas and Zachan and Maisa Shabbos. I just realized this last night because my Morah Shabbos is on all types of Bishul Chakiras, and he has over there 100 pages on our sugya. So there, he brings down very interesting thing. He brings down over there from Rav Yashiv. He brings down not just from Rav Yashiv. Now we have a new shaila now. I think who was discussing this with me yesterday? Who asked me this? Somebody asked me this. What's called the tzoyrich? Now we're saying that b'makim tzoyrich you can be mekel b'makim shoygig. So a very normal case. The person let's say they didn't realize the time. Make that'll be the case. Okay, they didn't realize the time and they plugged in the cholent. Okay, the cholent was raw, make it an evil case for Gamre, but let's make them a shaygig. I want to make them a shaygig, okay? And they didn't realize the time, and they plugged in the cholent. Okay, the kitzer. How did it happen? Her husband had come home from shul, and she hears the door closed, and she runs in, and she looks at she doesn't look at her watch, and she just like wakes up out of her bed, right? And she runs right to the cholent to turn on the cholent. Her husband had gone to shul for 2 hours. Somebody told me it's a nice shayah. It's an interesting story. But somebody told me the husband went to learn in the shul. She went to sleep. She was a shmata. So the husband came in, closed the door. He screamed out "Good Shabbos." I get that part she missed. She just heard the door slam. She ran out of her room and ran straight to the chalent and plugged in the chalent. Straight to the chalent, plugged in the chalent. Ouch. So now, the mice said they didn't know. What should they have done, Greta? What should they have done? Greta, what should they have done once they realized it's Shabbos? She had other shilohs. She had a shiloh that she have to make a knas on Adlakas Neiros. That's why the story came to me. What? Sorry? Food is raw. Food is raw. So the first thing is that she should have done is they should have taken out the chalent because the chalent taka is a problem of cooking now. It's muksa. The chalent is muksa. There's barley in it and raw meat. Well, okay, raw meat's a shiloh, but barley is muksa. But we said that it's not worth the. If you could, but the kid said the first thing you should do is get that chalent. I mean, Shabbos morning, the person went and he was talking to the Rav about the shiloh of the knas. If his wife is going to have a knas on Adlakas Neiros because she didn't do Adlakas Neiros, and he starts telling the whole story. He was trying to say how cold his wife was. So she came and just ran in and turned on the chalent. The Rav was like, what do you say? Dumbfounded. Right? He's founded dumb from such a shiloh. She plugged in the chalent. So he says, what about the chalent? Are you allowed to eat the chalent? So this Rav Paskin that they could eat the chalent. Rav Paskin eat the chalent. Why? She's a shaygeg. She told the shaygeg. What's a shaygeg? She didn't know it was Shabbos. That's the case of the Gemara of shaygeg. She thought it was Tuesday. That's the case of the Gemara. Shaygeg, she's Echeres. She's Nishkanoinis, right? Shaygeg. So that's the case of the Gemara. That case, she has to bring a chattis. Does this woman have to bring a chattis? 100%. So now, she's a shaygeg. So do we make a knas on the chalent? So Rabbi Meir would tell you the chalent is aser the entire Shabbos. And Rabbi Yehuda would tell you the chalent is aser the whole Shabbos. And Rabbi Meir would tell you that you can partake in this chalent. Okay? So what does the Mishnah Berurah tell you? The Malkim Tzarech, he can have the chalent. No. So who has a lay for chalent that would be masking to this Rav? Chalent? No, chalent. What did we learn last month in Reish and Ches? That Taka, the person that eats, or Reish and Zion, the person that eats chalent, he's the maimin, he's the mashmin. I gave that shear and it went on turning time. They put it as a separate shear when we spoke about the importance of eating chalent and hot food and whatever, and you're not picarious if not. Somebody, I tried to say it with a straight face. Somebody sent me an email. It was a picture of him. This guy was Knainar, his mamish 400 pounds. Right? And he writes on top, this is me, as he writes, this is me on the bottom, the biggest maimin in the world. I would show you the picture, but I'm not sure if you would want it. But this is me, the biggest maimin in the world, and he is. Mamish, like unbelievable. No, so you're telling me you're not going to have chalent on Shabbos? If that's not a tzorech, then what is? What is, Rabbi Favel? If that's not a tzorech, then what is? And the Rav Paskin, if they can have the chalent, they have the chalent. Rabbi Yashiv in the Morash, I heard both ways. When he told me the shaila, he asked me the shaila klape the knas. He said to me right away, klape the chalent, I was mekel because of Reb Meir, Malcolm Tzarech. I didn't say anything. He's a bigger Talmid Chacham than me. But I thought to myself, who says that's a tzorech? Who says that's a tzorech? First of all, do they have cold cuts? They have cold cuts. Do you have a hot water urn? So you'll have hot, you're not picarious, and you'll have cold cuts, you'll have meat. And let's say they don't have cold cuts. Does it say that you have a chiyuv that bus every yayin on Shabbos? So the Shulchan Aruch and Siman Reish Nun, the last time I checked, it doesn't say you have a chiyuv. It says it's like a mitzvah, shein azach, or whatever. And did they have the night before? They had no. So, sorry. It gets through the Shabbos. It's a nice thing. I'm asking. Very important. I'm not being mizalzel and chalent. I'm not. What? I don't know. We were dealing with B'nai Torah. It's not like she was. It's not like she's you're not going to have chalent and she's going to, so she'll feel a bit guilty and whatever. Rabbi say, guilt is a good thing. Guilt is a good thing. What would happen if they made a pill? We're in Elul, so you have to know these things. What would happen if they made a pill? What happened? Every time you take that pill, you're not hungry. Not hungry. The more you take a pill, imagine giving it to our 400-pound maimin over there, right? Every time you take this pill, you're not angry. You take it one day, not hungry. Next day, not hungry, right? By the seventh day, by the 7th, 8th day, Shein Har Menuchas, right? The Rebbeinu Shalom gave you a feeling of pain, of hunger, so that you know to eat, right? And that's when what happens. Then you know to eat, and you don't go to the Har Menuchas. That's how it goes. Okay? So besides, guilt is not a bad thing. Let her feel guilty. Embarrassed would be a different thing. Embarrassed. I know she's a pretty tired. I think it's a good thing. She'll get more. I don't know if that would be enough for me. But it would bother me if it was busha, this, that. What? Sorry? Oh, so comes along Rabbi Sher. That's what I like to hear. Thank you, Rabbi Sher. Rabbi Sher says, wait a minute. Rabbi Leibowitz also. Thank you. Okay. They say, wait, I have a raya that Shalint is, not just a raya of Emunah, not just the 14th animam. I have a raya, halachadik, that Shalint is called a tzarech. Right? What's the raya Shalint is called tzarech? Because what would happen in Taka if you wouldn't have Shalint on Shabbos? And in order to have chalent on Shabbos, the only way to have chalent is you'd have to get a guy to go through a carmelis to bring the chalent. Okay, so it's a shvus to shvus. For sure, to do it the right side day, guy, there's no help. Okay, but let's say the chalent is over there by your parents' house across the street or whatever. Right? So the only way is if you have a guy who can bring the chalent across. For whatever reason, you can't go out. You have a person has corona and he's not allowed to go to his parents and this that. And the guy he's got antibodies. Like okay, right, or something like that. So he wants to come across the street with the chalent. Other than that, you don't have chalent. Would we be makel shvus to shvus b'makom tzar? That's what you mean, correct? Yeah. Would we be makel shvus to shvus b'makom tzar? Shulchan Aruch and Shin Chafei Mishabur Sivkotim. I think there's a few of them. They all look the same. Over there, Mishabur brings down. Yeah, that would be enough of a tzarech to have the hot food. I think it's the first. No, it might even be the first. Shin Chafei learned this in Amir Lach. So I'm just proving, or they're proving, that this is called a tzarech. Das ist the tzarech samech beis here. Let's say here. Tzarech Shabbos. Okay, now we're making on beer. But why? Because beer is the ikar tzarech Shabbos. Yes, right? Certainly, in those days, that was the drink. Right? But then certainly the place can make for sure on a chalent. Here, Tavshel, Mishmur brings. I was reading Samach Beis. I told you they all look alike. Mitam shvus to shvus. Ein matir in the chatchila rak mit tzorech gadol kegain. What's a tzorech gadol? Kiddush. Okay, that's also a mitzvah, right? Oi ha Tavshel hacham shehuchan l'sudas Shabbos chalent. The first shvus, the shvus is mutter the makim chalent. What? No other way. Fine. Our case is no other way. What? Okay, let's say. Let's say. I don't want to get involved in that. It's true. So, there's another tiny on the road. The Rabbi Singer is tining that there's another tiny here. First of all, could you have gone to a neighbor and said that already? That could be a problem of busha. They don't want everybody to know that we don't have chalent for Shabbos. Okay, great. But that already. Let's chutz from them. I agree with you, but chutz from them. I want to know in the etzim zach. The etzim zach. I want to down on the etzim zach. Is chalent enough of a tzarech? Let me zog in taka that there's nobody else around. Rabbi Singer, they have corona. Right? So they're not leaving the house. Right? That's it. And now let me zog in that they can't leave the house. Now I want to know in Pashin in the London, is a chalent tzarech? So I just proved you a chalent is a tzarech. Right? So listen to this. And that's what I asked the Rav, the big Talmid Chacham. It's someone his name. I'm just not going to say only because so many Gedolim disagreed with it. But I can hear both ways. He told me it's Pashat like me in the Paiskim. That's what I asked him after. I said Pashat like me in the Paiskim. So this is Mistam. And I ask him where. This is I know myself. This is what he means. What does it mean the Paiskim? He means Amir Lakim. Maisa Rav Yashiv over there in the Mora Shabbos. He says no. Rav Yashiv said no way, not chalent. What's a tzarech? A tzarech main tzarech, and he has no other choice, like Rabbi Singer is saying. What are you going to do over here with the raya I'm bringing you from shvus to shvus, the makim chalent? So he says there's no raya. And he says, mamish the rate that we spoke about yesterday. He says, be'emes, the ikar psak halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. That's what he writes. The ikar psak halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, that taka on Shabbos, we're machmir. That's the ikar psak. The Mishabura came along and said, if you have no choice, that's how he's learning the Mishabura. So Chiddush, you didn't have to learn the Mishabura like that. But he's saying, if you have no choice, so then we'll be makel like Rav Meir. Like it's sort of what we spoke out, that it's the Shulchan Aruch and all the places until the Mishabura, they never even mentioned it's out of doing like Rav Meir. Okay, I told you yesterday, Shulchan, yeah. So he said, Azevai, when you're dealing with Shvus to Shvus, there Chazal gave a kula of a Shvus to Shvus, b'makim this, b'makim that, b'makim that. One of the things b'makim is what's called a tzarech. Chazal didn't aser b'chlal amir la'akum the mokim that you're doing it rabbanon for a tzarech. They didn't answer it before. So therefore, whatever's called a tzarech, you get the head. Here, the pshat is like this. This chalent is us, says Rabbi Yashiv. Now you want to come along and say it's such a big tzarech, I'll be saying on the sheet of Meir. That's his Rabbi Yashiv. I'm not asking if you have other food. I'm not asking. And Rabbi Yashiv said, even if you don't have other meat, you don't have other the hot food and whatever. So who else is masking? He brings down over there. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Masking to Rabbi Yashiv. You would have thought, people have this dogma in their head. That gadol, he'll say like I think. I mean, you all know exactly what I mean. Everybody here knows what I mean. I'm just the person that says it out in public. But you know exactly. You all thought Shlomo Zalman is not going to accept this, right? Shlomo Zalman said no, that Avada not. Shalom for sure was also for Shlomo Zalman. He was other things he was done. No way. He brings down there from Rav Nosson Gestetner, Zeichet Tzadik Levracha. He actually was a cousin of mine, and he brings down there Rav Nosson Gestetner said Chalent. See, Chalent straight to cup. Avadet's mutter. Avadet's mutter. And then he brings Rechaim Kanievsky. He said Rechaim Kanievsky said Hakol Kafiyat Tzarech Kafiyat. It's not. Rabbi, we'll catch. Imagine Rabbi Yankiv. That's he means like you. You have to start dying. She's going to get upset. Is by them the whole entire Suda is Chalent, and without Chalent, Lamali Shabbos. It looks like Tisha B'av. Tisha B'av Shechal not does on Shabbos Shechal Tisha B'av. Like so. Then I go upon him. Halacha l'maisa. Halacha l'maisa. I just want to tell you like this. It's something to think about. Once they're already coming to knock on your door to tell you the story, they're already knocking on the door. Why aren't they just? Most people they would have this story. And they know it's us. Let's say they know it's a problem. They turned it on Be'eser. They want to know, can we eat the chalent? Most people, what would any of you, Khalida, it's not you did it, but what would most of us do if you accidentally made the chalent? And you know that there's a big shiloh on the chalent, right? So what would you do? Say, I'm saying, forget it. Let's just leave it. You don't want to start asking to rub the shiloh this, that, right? That's already a shtickle raya that it's a big tzarech. I'm not saying that's how you pass. I'm just saying there's something to keep in mind when because Rechaim Kanievsky already told us, you have to see the matziv. That's Rabbi said. That's what's called tzarech. What else is called tzarech? Orchim is probably called a tzarech because that's already busha. Orchim, other people should know your business, whatever. Orchim, busha, etc. These types of things. Okay, come again. Okay. Now, Rabbi say there's one last part here. Okay, what do we have? 9 minutes here. Yeah, okay. You're still here, Rabbi Platzker? We're all here. Okay. Now, as I say, Rabbi say we're getting into the big shiloh now. Of a mummer, I'll lay the foundation now, and then Bez Hashem, I guess we'll try to finish this part tomorrow. The big shiloh, this is the big shiloh, which really starts up all the shilohs in Eretz Yisrael about electricity, and we're going to talk about electricity and all these things. I say these things that you think that the people that the goyim, they're the ones making the electricity, and that there's only malachas. That there's a lot of malachas going on in there in the electric company. And there's a lot of devices that are going on in the electric company. And we'll have to see. And there's a lot of the svaras that were thrown around 45 years ago are not true today. A lot of the things that they said about, if we're not going to allow electricity, it's going to be a sakana because Taka, there's a lady on a life support machine. You'll see a lot of the stories that are, we'll learn the Matthias. Is the electricity, we know you're learning a sugi over here. And if the Chilayni is making electricity on Shabbos for you, it's a very big shiloh. It's making it for you. We'll have to see. It's a very big shiloh. And you might not have as far of shaygig over here, and maybe he's doing it mamish for you, and it might be amazing, whatever. We'll have to see. I don't want, we're going to start it from fresh, but we have to start with one story back. One story back is what's the din taker of a Chilayni in general? And then we'll get into this part. What's the din of a Chilayni, a mummer, etc.? We started a little bit with Tinach Shenish. Let's go a little bit back. Where does it start, the Shiloh? The Shiloh starts over here. In our sugya, there's a phenomenal chiddush. The place can bring down in our sugya that even though we aser, this Ma'aseh Shabbos is also, you're not allowed to eat the schnitzel or whatever, okay? But the second Shabbos ends, let's say by the case of Shaygig, okay? That's the case everyone agrees. By the Shaygig, Ma'aseh Shabbos, are you allowed to eat that schnitzel immediately? Okay? Or whatever the case, whichever case that we have to wait till Ma'aseh Shabbos. Let's say Mezid for a Chayrim. Mezid for a Chayrim, even Rabbi Yehuda agrees, right? Or Rabbi Meir, everything Mezid. Everything Mezid, he says everybody's allowed Mezid Ma'aseh Shabbos. When we say Ma'aseh Shabbos, you're allowed to eat it. Are you allowed to eat it immediately? Let's say you're in a chalent. Might as well have chalent from Lav Malka, right? So do you have to eat that chalent? Do you have to wait the amount of time that it takes to cook that chalent? What's that called? Kedei sheyas. Because maybe Chazal don't want you to get, that's part of the knas. Maybe Chazal don't want you to get benefit from this Isser. So if you have to wait the amount of time it takes to cook, you're not going to get the benefit from the Isser, or not. Now, by Amir La'akum, and this, of course, as you realize, is the big start, the big shot of the train and everything. That's the big shot. When you're talking about a chalent in the Nishkaferach, and you wait a couple hours for the chalent, right? But when you're talking about the train, and we're talking about waiting a year or whatever, the Kadesh Yasu of the train is a whole different thing, And we have to see who built the train or whatever. Okay. Balkapanim, Kadesh Yasu is, did Chazal Aser, like by Amir La'akum, they did. By Amir La'akum, if the guy goes, and the guy brings you something from the Tchum, from Shtarab, and whatever, the guy brings you something. So now, and it was Beser, you have to wait the amount of time that, it's very gay, Amazon, all these things. We'll talk about all these things, but you have to wait the amount of time that it would have taken you're not going to benefit from Chilul Shabbos. That's the idea over here. And it'll be a deterrent and you won't come to ask it ever again. Okay. So if it took 15 hours for this plane to get here, so then, and you did it, you dafka overnighted it because you had to get it as fast as possible because you needed it here Sunday. Well, you're not going to gain because you're going to have to wait 15 hours anyways, the amount of time it takes to get here. That's the concept called Kadesh Yasu. Do you have Kadesh Yasu on Ma'aseh Shabbos? What's the Shiloh? Amir La'akum, Rabbanan. Ma'aseh Shabbos deraisa, meaning the issur that they did is deraisa. So Yosher, it's going to be less. It's going to be more kuladik. It's going to be more kuladik. So that's the big shocker in our sugya. And the way we paskin is there's no kadesh yasu on a Ma'aseh Shabbos, which means the simple case. But the simple case is you go and you cook that cholent. Ma'aseh Shabbos, you can partake in that cholent miyad from a level malki. You don't have to wait the 5 hours. Now what's this all about? What's the pshat that when it comes to Amir La'akum, we do have an issur of Kadesh Yasu. And Mashenkin, when it comes to Ma'aseh Shabbos, so we don't have a Kadesh Yasu. What's the pshat? So there's a big machlekes Rashi and Taisvis. Very important. I'm going to lay the framework today, so tomorrow we'll get right into the Gutta Zachen over here. This is also Gutta Zachen. But there's a very big machlekes. What's the reason why Chazal asered Kadesh Yasu on the things that they asered Kadesh Yasu? For example, Amir La'akum, Chazal to Gemara and Beya, and Daf Chav Dalet, Chazal to Gemara and Chulin also. The Chazal asked Kadesh Yasu, let's say by Amir La'akum. And they said, in an Amazon case, so you're not allowed to use that item after Shabbos. You have to wait the amount of time you're not going to get. You have to wait the 15 hours or whatever. You have to wait the 15 hours. And what's the reason they asked it? So there's a big machlekes. Taisus comes along. Taisus many places. Taisus Beya. Taisus says, because the whole idea of Amir La'akum is that we don't want you to tell the guy. So we make a deterrent. And we say, if you're going to tell the guy, we're going to answer it. So comes along Taisus and he says, we need to put this into our deterrent. What's Amir La'akum? Amir La'akum is it an Isser Hana? You're not allowed to benefit from that which the guy did. Because if you're going to be allowed to benefit from what the guy did, you're going to say, wow, so geschmack. The Rebbeinu Shalom, I always wondered, what's the Eibishter Bashafin Goyim? Why did the Rebbeinu Shalom make all these Goyim? Now it makes sense so that they could do things for me on Shabbos. So you're going to come to ask him Nachamul. Comes again Chazal Zaktaisis, and they said, no. If you go and you tell the guy to do something, you're not going to benefit from it, and you're going to have to wait after Shabbos. So it's not Kedai, because you're right. I didn't benefit from it on Shabbos, but at least I'll benefit after Shabbos. No, you're not going to benefit at all, and therefore you're going to realize it's not Kedai. That's a sheet of places. Rashi says not like that. Rashi says that Hana, Chazal made an Isser Hana. That they stole the neck Hana, right? So the guy brought this Amazon the package, whatever. He brought the package, etc. So now they asked no. What's the no I'm getting from the package? I'm getting the no is in dollars and cents, it's in time, right? So if it took 15 hours, I got the no of 15 hours. So they made an Isser, a no. It's very simple. That's probably how you all would have learned, right? Because I'll answer this item. So the no from this item. So what's the no from this item? The no is that I can eat this cholent. The guy made the cholent. If I can eat this cholent biyad on Motzei Shabbos, so then I'm getting a no. So wait, the 15 hours. So what's the nafkamina? Nafkamina is comes again the Mogen Avram and the Taz. Mishabur brings it down over here by us and cut it. Hey, the nafkamina is if a Yisrael did a ma'isa for you, our sugya, ma'isa Shabbos. Yisrael did a ma'isa. Okay, let's make him into a from yid for a minute. He did a ma'isa Shabbos by mistake, whatever, or b'mezid he got chapa or whatever. He did a ma'isa Shabbos. We'll get there in a minute. He goes and he does a ma'isa Shabbos. Comes again the Mogen Avram and he says, what's the reason why we Avada Ma'aseh Shabbos itself we asked him, and this item is also the whole Shabbos. Let's say Lefi Rabbi Yehuda, okay? Or let's say Mezid Lefi Reb Meir. This item is also the chalent, the end of chalent. This chalent was also, like we spoke before, according to Rabbi Yasher, that chalent was also the whole Shabbos. Okay, now we asked it, that's a Ma'aseh Shabbos, that's a Knas, you're never going to do this again. Now, says the Merid Kevar, comes again the Magen Avraham, he says, well, what's the reason why we normally ask the Kadesh Yasu by Amir La'akum? Is because we don't want you asking the guy. Says the Magen Avraham, that's all by a guy. but is there anybody in his right mind? He's going to go and he's going to ask a Yisrael to do something for him, right? Is it Kal Be'einav? Is it Kal Be'einav? The whole reason why we made a din of Kadesh Yasu is because you're going to come to ask the guy to go and do something for you. Why are you going to come to ask the guy to do something for you? Because the guy's going to listen. First of all, says the Magen Avraham, is the Jew going to listen? We're talking about a from Jew. We'll get to Chilayim and Hashem tomorrow. But is a from Jew going to listen? He says, he's not going to listen to you. So I would say we never asked Kadesh Yasu. They didn't answer this Chalon Kadesh Yasu, because what's the whole reason why they asked Kadesh Yasu? The whole reason is a super deterrent, because you're going to come to ask. Why would I come to ask? There's no way in the world he's going to listen to me. And the Taz goes further. The Taz says, not only that, what else is there? You're going to ask him. You're going to ask him. What are the reason you're going to ask him? Because Amir La'akim, people think Amir La'akim. Oh, yeah. There's some that are noyik like that. Yeah. Taka. So some don't mention for something minik taka Amir La'akim. Yeah. Some people even have a minik that. So don't mention with Kate Mitgartel. So don't mention with taka Makbid Amir La'akim. Some people even Makbid on this, whatever. Okay. So people think Amir La'akim is like for very very chashuv people from people. They don't know. The mezalzel in Amir La'akim. It's Kal Be'einav. Said the Taz. Is a Yid doing malacha? Does his Kal Be'einav? Does Kal Be'einav? It's not Kal Be'einav. Is he going to go and ask a Yid? He'll be over on the Heaver. You think he's going to ask a Yid to do it? So B'zoi, the fee, the Bahalach of Toisvis, that the reason why we ask the Kadesh Yatsu is because you're going to come to ask him. Then no way in the world do we have to ask the Kadesh Yatsu by a from Yid that doesn't make the Shabbos. Masha'en came, says the Bach, Rashi, Rabbi Yoel Serkis the Bach, he was the Rav in Belz and in Krakow, also in Brisk. He brings down, according to Rashi, we should ask the Kadesh Yasu, even by Ma'aseh Shabbos. Why? No. Why? Because what's the Isser? No. The Isser is no. So it's the same Isser. What's the difference? Why did Chazal ask Amir La'akum Kadesh Yasu? Don't get enough from this item. No, as I say, what's the difference if the guy does the Esther Shabbos? Adarabah, Yisrael doing it is more of a reason to say don't get enough from that item. So then I say you can't have that challenge until 5 hours after. And you know what? It stems. Rashi Tak and Chulin. Taka sounds like they would make an Esther. The Shulchan Aruch Paskin's not like that. Shulchan Aruch, and that's how we Paskin Mishabura. I mean, Al Kapanim Mishabura Paskin's not like that. That's the Mishabura you're going to see in Mitzvah Shem, I guess, today. Mishabura Siv Katan Hey. Mishabura brings down not like that. I'll just read it to you, Bekitza, and then we'll stop. Mishabura brings down over here. He says, what happens? Sorry. Mishabura, there she is. There's this. He says, and then right by the Shart Siyim Ches. Only by a guy. Why? Where's the Yosher? If a guy does something, you do have to wait. Right? It's a good trivia question, right? But not trivial. There's nothing trivial about Torah. It's a good what's it called? Good riddle is that. So the good riddle to Gishayla, good chidah. Yeah. How do you have a case where, because well, that's the answer. Right? But the guy, I have to think how to say it. But you get my point. Where do you have a case where it's more chamer what Israel does, what a guy does, than what Israel does? Right? It's more chamer. The teretz is by a guy we're going to ask her kadesh yas. Guy, if he does something, we ask her it also on Motzei Shabbos. If the guy was the one bringing that package, so we'll make you wait an extra 15 hours. If the Israel brought the package, so then we don't make you wait the extra 15 hours, because it says the Mishabura exactly what we said. Why? Because first of all, it's not Kal Be'einav Zak Mishabura. Davar Shenas Alidei Yisrael B'Yadayim is not Kal Be'einav. V'Oida Yisrael LaYishmalai. And the Yisrael's not going to listen to him. As I say, what are you worried that he's going to come to tell him? The Yisrael's not going to listen to him, like the Magen Avraham, and it's not Kal Be'einav like the Taz. So Mitzvah Shem, what we have to talk about tomorrow is what if you have a bad guy? What if you have a mummer? So what's his din? What about a Chiloini? He's a Nishba guy. He's a cotton. What about a cotton? Mitzvah Shem. Okay, so what we're talking about. And what about that first bus out of the Kaisel? Yeah, I take that first bus. Right? I take that bus. What's the din? Or do you have to wait? Right? What about the cab? I need a cab the second day after Shabbos. I got to get on a flight. Are you going to be allowed to take that cab? You messed up. You did it. You tell the Rav on Shabbos, yeah, I'm leaving Motzei Shabbos. I got to get the first cab. He's coming. Tells you you weren't allowed to do that. Okay, well, the mice, I can't call him on Shabbos to tell him not to do it. So now he's there. He's allowed to take that cab. I'll take that cab. So, okay, so that's good. We have what to talk about tomorrow. I was worried we wouldn't. Okay. Okay, listen. Wait, let me put on my thing. Cotton? Yes. It's ganz mashma in Shabura.